Hello everyone and welcome back. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the top 10 best family game of all time. What is a family game? I try to classify a family game, those kind of games that are not too heavy on rules. They maybe have a good theme or good look and can be played very well with 3 or 4 people, like in a family you have a kid or maybe 2 kids. And also I put in this list games that the usual names like Ticket to Ride, Pandemics. These are great family game for sure. These are all. I want to give you an idea of other type of games that you can find. I try to select games that are somehow easy to find in your friendly local game shop or online or throughout the website. Not too old games that maybe are out of print or very rare to find. So this is gonna be a collection of games that I also try to put different genre: card games, cooperative, strategic. There's a little bit of meanness, because meanness is always pleasant among family members, that's apparent. I also want to introduce games that they have some interesting aspects, some interesting mechanics that are not only can they be introduced to anyone, any family member, your uncle, your aunt, your grandma, but can also be entertaining for you as a hobby, passionate about games, that they want to share that passion with other people. And without further ado, let's get started. At number 10, we have a card game, and it is a cooperative game. Usually trick-taking games are very popular among all the generation. I used to play lots of trick-taking games with my grandparents, and so I think this is a good way to introduce something different for people that may be familiar with this concept. And this is The Crew. Doesn't matter which version you're gonna pick. The Crew, I think, is an excellent choice for the family. It plays very well with 3. It plays extremely well with 4. And what is The Crew? The Crew is a trick-taking game, like a cooperative trick-taking game, where you have a mission. You need to collect a specific number of tricks, or you need to collect a specific number of numbers in a specific order, and you do this by playing cards and be quiet. There's no communication. There's a very limited communication among the players, and that's the hook. You need to essentially go through a regular trick-taking game without communicating, and so you have all the inference, visualization that if you are a trick-taker are familiar with. And so at my number 10, we have The Crew. At number 9, we have an auction game, and it's a quirky one, and this is QE, quantitative ease. In this game, you as a player represent a country, and you are bidding against other countries to acquire industries, corporations, government agency, and you bid money to acquire. How much money? Well, you are representing your country, so you can print as much money as you want. The twist is here: once the player that has spent the most among all the players immediately loses. The second thing is the bidding is somehow hidden. So you write your bid in a cardboard and you give it to the auctioneer, which is also one of the players participating. So the auctioneer is the only one knows all the bids, and the auctioneer at the same time shows up the bid to start for whatever company or industry, etc. So player at the table, they have the starting point and they see who the auction is won, and also they know what the bid they did. So if I bid 1 billion and I see Samantha winning, I know that Samantha spent more than 1 billion. How much? I don't know. How much I can push? I know that Samantha potentially can lose if I spend the most. So at the next round, how much I'm gonna bid? The game overall is a very simple set collection. You score for the most variety, you score for the most of the same group, you score the most if you have the one that belong to your country. There's also an expansion I will always play with and introduce a cryptocurrency, oil and other resources. That's also to twist up and also give an incentive to be second and also to be the auctioneer. So very, very interesting. This is something that sounds weird, sounds broken, but trust me, it always sings, and this is QE. At number 8, we have an area control game. This is a game where you are developing Manhattan in 1901, and this is New York 1901. In New York 1901, you place tile on top of Manhattan to build your skyscrapers. And there are different tiers of skyscrapers, and you are competing for the tallest skyscraper, which gives you points every time you place a skyscraper. You get points, and the taller you build it, the more points you have. But to build a taller one, you need to destroy the one you have placed before. And the bigger, the tallers also are bigger. But there is also an area control part of the game where there are end game scoring conditions based on the most buildings that you own in a specific location, or in a specific neighborhood, or in a specific street. And so you have this compromise, you want to place many small skyscrapers and don't score lots of points at the beginning, or you focus on the big ones, but then probably you're gonna miss out later on in terms of how many skyscrapers you have on that area control. It's a very interesting mechanics. The choices are very simple. You draw the cards in the ticket to ride a fashion, and then you play cards to place your skyscrapers. You have always two workers, and there's a little bit of meanness sometimes because you can place a worker and block a location for an opponent that it wants to expand there, and you place the worker, they don't use it to build anything, or you just wait a little bit later to build. Very, very interesting. It's a very nice puzzle. Extremely recommend if you play with 4. 3 is okay, 2 is not good, that's why it's in this list. And number 8, we have New York 1901. And number 7, we have a racing game. Honestly, this is a racing games that I put it here because of the wackiness and the spirit and the laugh that definitely a family can enjoy. And this is Dodo Riding Dinos. Doesn't matter if you have this version or you have this version, either is fine. Dodo's Riding Dinos is essentially Mario Kart, the board game. You are dodos galloping on top of dinosaurs, shooting each other banana peels or meteorites or eggs in order to slow it down, destroy it, penalize it, making it explode, and whatever. And the system is very simple. You simultaneously select a card, which can be an aggressive card or could be a regular card. Regular card is fine, you execute the movements, you execute any special power. The aggressive card is very powerful, but if at the table many people use the aggressive card, the special power cannot be activated. So there's a little bit of thinking and be smarter than your opponent, so play at the right time and surprise everyone with a very cool move. This is obviously a game, because it's a racing game, it can also be played with more people, so if you invite your uncles and aunts, definitely they can play with you. And the cute artwork and the nice plastic components give that family vibe that is definitely enjoyable. And it's a really good game. Yes, people may be pushed back because there's dexterity, but the dexterity is very mild. The card selection is very quick. The theme is fun. It's really lots of laughs every time I put this game on the table. And this is Dodo's Riding Dinos. Speaking about dexterity, at number 6 we have a dexterity game. Again, I put this list to put excellent game and also give you variety. And at number 6 we have a Tokyo Highway. In Tokyo Highway you are stacking highways. You have these gray sticks that represent the street, and every time you cross 2 sticks you have the chance to place one of your cars on top of the street. And so it's a race to put all your cars on the street of Tokyo, and the first player who does that wins the game. In a dexterity game, of competitive dexterity game, there is always that element. What happens when you knock some pieces off? Do you lose? Do you automatically get eliminated? And the answer is not. There's some sort of penalization. I remember, I think you have one extra disc. You have also disc that put your highway higher and higher because you want these highways to cross each other. And also the game ends if you score points based on how many discs you have placed or something like that. And so the penalization is that you get more discs, so you have essentially more turns that you need to do, or eventually you're gonna have a small negative points at the end of the game. It's really simple, it's beautiful to see. Every time it's different because how these roads intersect each other, very different. It comes with a pair of tweezers that you don't see many times in a board game, so there's also a nice toy factor. And this is number 6, Tokyo Highway. At number 5, we have a cooperative game, another one. And this time is to bring you the pandemic vibe, but with a different theme. And this is Horrified. I only play this version, apparently it is the best one, and so stick with this one. In Horrified, you are fighting the universal monster that you see here in the box, and you go around the board rescuing peasants, and actually by rescuing peasants and bringing them to the right location, they can give you extra powers, but at the same time you have a mini game to defeat the specific monster. You have Miss and Mr. Frankenstein that need to get in love at the right time and the right place together. You have the mummy that you need to have a small puzzle in the tomb that you need to do. The monster of the Blue Lagoon, you have your own mini game. They're all different. They have also different difficulties, and you can increase simply by adding more monsters. So if you think it's very easy, you add more monsters, you can increase the difficulty as much as you want. It brings everyone together. The system is familiar if you have played with a Pandemic. If you have not, this is a very robust system and brings a lot of good moments and also lots of good stories to tell. And this is Horrified. And number 4, we have deduction game. I would say is that in real core, it's very similar to Clue. And this is Hooky. In Hooky, you deal a deck of cards, which are all the letters of the alphabet except 3. So every player gets a hand of letters, and they need to create a word with those letters. And what they need to do with these letters is try to figure out what all the opponent's letters are, and also the one that have not been dealt. How do you do that? You need to give a 5-letter word every time, and you essentially ask an opponent, for example, you can say an opponent a 5-letter word like Earth, and the opponent will reply with a number. That number indicates how many letters of the word that you said are present in their hands. And that counts also letters that are repeated multiple times. For example, if I say the word treat and I hear as a reply 2, I know that 2 could be 2 different letters or the 2 T's present in the word. And so I start taking notes. Also the opponents hear the answer and they start taking notes. They can deduce the letters based on what's in their hands. There are sometimes a possibility to pick the cards outside. You have the chance to guess what the possible letters are. It's a very difficult game, and to get everything right is very difficult, but that's why I like it, because there's a scoring system that incentivizes the guess and rewards guessing early and rather than later. It's something that I extremely recommended. Perhaps it's not the easiest to find, and also the look doesn't help this game that much, but definitely a solid deduction game, Hooky. And number 3, we have a series of games. I could put in this list many of them, so I put a bunch of here the boxes, and this is the Unlock series. Unlock is an escape type of a game. In this set of boxes now, they usually are released in a pack of 3. You have 3 scenarios that consist of a deck of cards and an app that you need to have on your cell phone, on your tablet. So obviously there's a caveat. You need to be okay with have a game running with an app. And I'm telling you, the app is very well implemented. They have really blended the 2 things very well, and your mind can be blown away with the type of solution or things that will ask you to do with the cards and with the app. No spoilers. But what you have here, 3 decks, which I told you usually a story, can be very funny story, cartoony, can be more serious, can be a mystery crime, can be a futuristic one, and these are usually in progressive difficulties. And what you do, you can do association of numbers, so you can have a type of like a point and click adventure. So if you see a door that is 17 and you have a key that is 3, then you put them together for looking card number 20, and then you search card number 20, you flip and you see if it's correct or not, and things can evolve. You can put in the app codes, you can interact with the app, and the game brings you there. Is in a box, you have your 3 adventures, and then when you're done you can pack it and give it away. And there are so many that if you start collecting it and go back, I guarantee you will never remember what's the solution of the puzzle. Maybe the most mind-blowing, maybe the most special one, but most of them are already forgotten. I will be able to play anyone at any time. And as I said, if that's not what you're interested in, you can pack it up and give it to a friend, because you don't destroy anything in this game. And these are like excellent. And this is number 3, unlock. And number 2, we have a super new game that I shoot up to this list, and I really cannot stop playing it. And this is Otter. Otter is a card shuffling game. The aim of the game is discarding all the cards from your hands. And the way you do it is by placing cards on the center of the table where you have 3 otters. These 3 otters have 2 requirements, one on the head and one on the tail. The requirements is what kind of cards they can be allocated on their tummy. Essentially, the otters are eating. So you put the cards on the table and you can satisfy the head or you can satisfy the tail. But if you satisfy both, you can keep playing multiple cards during your turn as long as you satisfy the both head and tail of the same otter. The twist is also at the beginning of your turn, you have the possibility to manipulate the heads and the tails. You can swap them, you can flip them at the back of the tail or the head. You have a different condition. Usually it's the opposite. Like if you want head tells you the otter wants even numbers, you flip it, you add the odd numbers. And so you can draw cards to do manipulation. The more cards you draw, the more manipulation you can do, but you have more cards to get rid of by the end of the game. And so you have this interesting puzzle, but the feeling of managing to pull out a combo of 5-6 cards in one round is so satisfying. And then depending on the number of players, you need to shed your cards once or twice or 3 times, depending, as I said, the number of players. And whoever does the first is the winner. This is a very simple, it's a very compact game, but there's a lot to unpack. There's so much to think, so satisfying. It could be almost a classic for what it does and for the feeling that brings to the family. And at number 1, we have tile laying, drafting game, very cozy, very pleasant, beautiful to see, and this is Cascadia. I'm gonna be honest with you, when I saw Cascadia for the first time, I wasn't drawn about it. I read the rules and I said, so what? Well, when I managed to put it to the table, and it was so interesting. In Cascadia, you are building a forest in front of you, you collect tiles and you collect animals. During your turn, you have only one decision to make: which pair of a tile and animal token you're gonna take. Eventually, you can discard one pine to split the pair and take whatever token and tile you want, and if that no pairs satisfy you, but pine cones at the end of the game scores you extra points. And you place these tiles in front of you to score the biggest water area, the biggest mountain, the biggest prairie, the biggest river, and you put the token on top to score a specific pattern that you maybe want to create with it, or the fox or the eagle, whatever. Every one of these animals has a different scoring condition that you want to make. So you have these 2 puzzles overlaying each other, one more special, just simply area, the greatest area, and then you have the pattern building element of the animals. And this is always different. Also, the tile gives you some constriction. Not all the tokens can be placed anywhere. So sometimes you want a tile, but you don't have the tokens, or you cannot place the tokens. Or there are some tokens that are a little bit more rare, or I want to take this tile that I can accommodate that token, but that tile is gonna break my big cluster that I was building somewhere else. I need to break it because, you know, scoring the animals gives me even more points. Very, very fascinating game. I haven't got tired about this game, and this is number 1, Cascadia. And what are your favorite family game? Please write in the comment below. And if you made it so far, I want to thank you. And please don't forget to subscribe, like this video, share with your friends. You know the drill. This is not your first YouTube video, am I right? Thank you very much, and see you next time. Ciao.